speaking perhaps more on a Patrizia level, perhaps rather than a Gregory level, what are the priorities when it comes to innovation?
Well, actually, I think that's what I already more or less answered in the very beginning. So making the property smart, investing sustainably with the SFE, incrementally improving our processes and our business in general and our services, and then being like the R&D hub with trends, technology, and including here like a topic like DLT.
So when you talked earlier on about 5 core focuses that Patrizia have, and I'll just remind the audiences again so it's clear. You talked about your prioritization around smart buildings. You've now got your sustainable ventures fund, which has raised 50 million euros. You also look quite seriously in distributed ledger technologies. And there's an R&D hub, which you're prioritizing as well. But it's the 4th one I really want to focus in on, because you used the term incrementally improving the business. So I'm really fascinated by how does Patrizia really keep an onus on continual innovation within its business?
Well, actually, that's like a bit like the $1 million question, because if you're able to keep innovating, then a lot is achieved. So my very personal view on that is that in the end, it only works if innovation is really pushed and executed by the whole organization. So being really, what you already said a bit in the beginning is that everyone is an innovator, that everyone pushes forward these kind of things. And well, this includes a lot on like resources, responsibilities, accountability, but also creativity and ingenuity. And so I see one of the very important tasks we're having at the moment in equipping the people with the necessary tools and fostering the mindset shift towards like a really innovative culture. And lastly, saying about that, in the end, if you wish so, it might lead to making ourselves more or less redundant. Because if everyone is innovating, the question is, do you need then a centralized innovation team?
That's an awkward question. But I don't know if you can share some thoughts on a little statement you made in there, because I think other leaders would be particularly interested in how you do this. But you talked about fostering a mindset within staff towards a much more innovative culture. How do you do that?
You mean how we develop a more innovative culture?
Yeah, within all of your staff, from the top to the bottom. How do you bring that realization that innovation is a force for good within Patrizia?
Well, I think first of all, you need to know that changing a culture is not done overnight. It's really, really a long journey over years. And there is not one recipe or one thing to do. It's more like a couple of things who should work in tandem to do so. And actually, we're doing quite a lot. There are numerous activities and initiatives from the innovation team, but also from HR to do so. I can try to explain some of them. I'm sure I'm not aware of all of them, and also probably not remembering all. But let me try explain a few things. So first of all, we have our own Patrizia Academy. In this academy, there are various courses ensuring that all the employees have access to a curriculum that helps them to future-proof the skills and prepare the people for the future work and the requirements for that. There is featured human skill or core human skills under well-being. It's also about personal effectiveness, ED&I, agile working under the umbrella of job-ready skills. And the premise for all that is that a successful entrepreneur needs to have at least a set of all these skills, if not all of them. And so that we are trying to equip the people with that from an HR perspective. So that's what done for everyone from the HR side. Last year, there was a new program launched called Futures, where 30 leaders or so-called future leaders were selected and did a program based on 2 pillars, innovation and leadership. And in the end, bringing that together. And being part of the second cohort this year, I can really only emphasize that it's a great building block to help creating future innovation leaders. So that's the second thing. Thirdly, I can mention a lot, actually, as I already slightly touched on, ideally everything that an innovation team does helps fostering an innovation culture. When we are analyzing processes, when we are piloting solutions, when we are explaining things to the team and really going into the deep work, this should help. What we additionally did in the past, we launched a bi-monthly education series where, for example, our venture partners, I've already mentioned them, but happy to mention them again. It's Taronga, Pilots, and Camber Creek already presented themselves and explained their view on the market. And the appetite within the organization was really, really great. We had more than 300 people visiting in or listening in to those at peak. So really, really good initiative, I would say. And lastly, I also could mention our board of directors. So we've set up a new board of directors, including many strong entrepreneurs like Axel Hefer from Trivago or Philippe Vimar from Doctolib. And they are now developing the strategy and acting as great role models for our staff. So as you see, there is not one thing we are doing. It's really a few things which in the end should help to together help to create an innovative culture and do the shift here.
It's really, really interesting. Thank you for that very detailed overview. And
I'm sure I forgot a lot, so please excuse that.
I'm sure you haven't, because that was an excellent overview of some really important points from what I've seen. That final point about the board of directors and how diverse a skill set they have, which are going to challenge the board. That's what boards need, is outside influence to challenge, all the way through to your starting point, which is the Patrizia Academy, which is where everybody has the option and the opportunity to be more entrepreneurial in their pursuit of understanding multiple areas of business sense. So, it was really interesting. So thanks, Gregory.